This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Tuesday, T-Boy Tuesday, May 23rd, and today's pod is the best one yet.
Here we go. Let's get right into them, Nick.
What a wonderful show today. Jack, first story, what do we got on the pod?
Krispy Kreme sales just hit a record high last quarter, even though Krispy Kreme is constantly giving away donuts for free.
Krispy Kreme, they just growth hacked your graduation.
For our second story, two of the biggest law firms on earth just merged.
You're gonna need a lawyer for this story, aren't you, Jack?
Yeah, you are. And our third and final story, 3 U.S. states out west just agreed to save the Colorado River by using less water.
Yetis, this may be the biggest economic story of the year. Physically.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories,
I mean, no one else is doing this mix. I love this mix, Jack.
we gotta talk about another chapter of Swiftonomics textbook.
Oh, whip it open. Swiftonomics 101. Yetis, when Taylor Swift holds a concert, the local economy, it moves.
Bad blood? That boosts business.
Shake it off. That's going to shake up the GDP.
But get this, Yetis, the newest value creation by a Taylor Swift concert isn't the impact on hotels or merchandise sales.
And it's not the impact on the t-shirts or the cute tops. What is it, Jack?
Rainwater.
Yeah, it's rain water.
Taylor Swift rainwater.
A jar filled with rainwater from Taylor Swift's concert, that's going to cost you $250.
All right, here's the story, Yetis. It rained over the weekend at one of Taylor's 3 Boston concerts that your buddy who's from right outside of Boston definitely went to this past weekend.
Yeah, full disclosure, the concerts, they were technically just outside of Boston.
But despite it continuing to rain the whole time, Taylor kept playing.
And so her fans kept getting water on them.
She was a gamer, and some fans realized the epic moment they were witnessing, and they held out their empty bottle to collect the rain.
That's when the entrepreneurial mindset set in. They bottled that rainwater, and now they're selling that rainwater online.
Official Taylor Swift concert rainwater for sale for 250 bottles a pop.
Legally, we're supposed to say it's unofficial. This is some profitable precipitation.
Now, Yetis, you may not be able to afford tickets to this expensive Taylor Swift concert.
But you can also maybe not afford 6 ounces of Taylor Swift rainwater.
Yeah, it's $250. That's pretty much unaffordable.
Which leads to a lot of specific questions. There must be a lot of options out there, right, Jack?
Was it rain from like the floor seats?
Or was it rain from the nosebleeds?
Or maybe, just maybe, it was rain that at one point trickled and tribbled and tiptoed off of her fingertips.
Of course, at the end of the day, we're just talking about water.
False. Holy water.
Look what you made me do, Jack. Let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Krispy Kreme has a new growth hack, and here's what it is.
What is it, Nick?
They take their best-selling product and then they give it away for free.
Because Krispy Kreme's customer isn't one person. It's a whole celebratory occasion.
Get this, Yetis. Krispy Kreme, it's one of the top performing stocks in the market right now.
Congratulations to all you shareholders out there. The stock is up 50% so far this year.
I mean, if you're going to say that, you want to do your disclosure now, Jack?
I'll save it for the end of the pod.
Jack bought a bunch of shares a few years ago. He's been sipping on that citron. Jack's been chopping on that custard over there ever since.
Sales at Krispy Kreme were up 12.5% last quarter, which is the 6th straight quarter of growth for this donut chain.
Now, that is some really impressive numbers. We're talking outperforming a whole bunch of tech companies this year. But Jack, there is that strange thing we noticed about Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme seems obsessed with giving away donuts for free.
Okay, here's the weird thing. They're giving away their best-selling donuts for $0.
If you Google Krispy Kreme right now, you're going to see dozens and dozens of articles about the graduate dozen.
Pause the pod and you're going to look up and see that it's all about the graduate dozen.
The graduate dozen is their current marketing promotion where they will give graduating seniors a free box of glazed donuts. Congratulations.
How did they put this? They had a great name for this.
Oh, they call it a diploma.
They call it double. I love the content team over there. Yeah, this is like graduating summa cum donut.
This is Kappa Sigma Sprinkles.
This is glazed and confused.
So we were curious about all these free donut giveaways because I swear I've seen other free donut promotions from Krispy Kreme as well.
And Jack and I swear from our business school days, this is definitely how to lose money if you give it all away for free.
So we jumped into the IPO paperwork from back in 2021 when the company IPO'd.
2 years ago, we jumped in T-Boy style and we noticed some interesting things about their marketing tactics.
That IPO paperwork mentioned the Graduate Dozen promotion 13 times.
That is a big deal. They thought it was an important enough a promotion to highlight in their going public IPO paperwork.
And it is working.
Yes, it is.
Nick, in 2020, they gave away $12 million worth of free donuts.
Jack, can you talk to me about the return on that investment of the donuts?
All in all, they got 38 billion impressions from all those articles written about all those promotions.
Jack, lather me in strawberry jelly and whip up a takeaway for us over there.
Krispy Kreme realized they're not selling to customers, they're selling to occasions.
Yetis, most donut stores, they're going to sell to you, an individual customer. Like you're getting one coffee, one donut, that's it.
But Krispy Kreme isn't selling to you. Krispy Kreme is selling to your event.
Get this. According to the CEO of Krispy Kreme, 80% of their customers are buying donuts to share those donuts.
They're bringing a dozen donuts to the office party, or they're bringing a couple dozen donuts to the graduation party.
Even Darlene at Dunkin', she's buying a dozen donuts for her buddy's bar mitzvah. That's happening.
So each Krispy Kreme customer is actually multiple customers.
Yetis, every possible health and wellness trend right now, it is going against donuts.
And yet, Krispy Kreme is thriving because it's an affordable splurge that you can share.
Krispy Kreme realized it doesn't sell to customers, it sells to occasions. For our second story, two of the biggest... Jack's just falling apart over there on me, falling apart. It must have been the glaze.
I'm thinking about the takeaway.
It is a good takeaway. This one is a good takeaway. For our second story, two of the biggest law firms are merging to form Globo-Law.
To find out why, we're going to follow the money and the fine print.
But before we kick this off, Jack, how many lawyers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Can I ask you a question?
You sound like a lawyer right now, right? Well, that's what you do. The answer is 3, by the way. One's got to get on the ladder, one's got to shake the ladder, and then the third one sues the ladder company because it was shaking.
Yetis, breaking news from Bob Loblaw's Law Blog.
Two of the biggest law firms on earth are merging and becoming one super law firm.
Those law firms are Allen & Overy, a British law firm, and they're merging with Sherman and Sterling, a New York City-based law firm.
The new combined giant law firm isn't going to be called Allen & Overy and Sherman and Sterling because they ran out of ampersands.
Although that'd be hilarious. Instead, they're going with A&O Sherman.
Which is like a little awkward for Sterling, Jack. Sterling got left out there.
Sterling just got knocked off the name card. I don't know what happened.
Apparently, Sterling wasn't pulling his weight, and he smelled weird.
But Nick and I have decided we're just going to call this Globo-Law.
Yeah, basically, Yetis, this is the White Goodman of law firms. Nobody makes them bleed their own blood. Now, here's why Jack and I were fascinated about this story. The hardest thing to do in business is to do this. The hardest thing to do is to scale a services human-based business.
Because people are expensive to scale.
For example, this new firm, it's going to have 3,900 attorneys.
That's almost $1 billion in accumulated law school tuitions.
And this new law firm, it's going to have lawyers in 49 offices in 29 countries.
That's a lot of real estate to fill up with a lot of expensive lawyers.
So in order to afford to run this entire giant law firm operation, they're going to focus on cross-border business. That's what they do.
For example, let's look at Pepsi. Pepsi is a multinational corporation. They must consider laws, regulations, and geopolitical intricacies in the 200 countries they operate.
Well, Yetis, if Pepsi wants to sell soda in Senegal and Fritos in Finland, what's it going to do, Jack?
They're going to call Globo-Law.
Yeah, that's going to be the business.
Yetis, this isn't no Atticus Finch law firm. This is huge, profit-seeking Globo-Law.
So, Jack, for the avoidance of doubt and perpetuity, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at this massive law firm business?
Your money should follow the money. that follows the money.
Yetis, look, these law firms, they are old. In fact, one of them is celebrating its 150th birthday this year.
And these law firms both make a lot of money. Together, they're going to bring in $3.5 billion in annual legal fee revenue.
But here's the interesting thing. Despite being really old and really lucrative, these law firms are pivoting their focus now that they're together.
This combined law firm is going to tell their young associate lawyers to focus on specializing in the life sciences and energy transition industries.
Jack, can we get a translation on that?
We want your billable hours to go to pharmaceutical companies and energy companies.
Yetis, here's why Jack and I are focused on law firms. They're in the business of deals. And these two law firms, they think that deals are trending toward pharmaceuticals and energy.
So if you're paying attention to what's going on, you should follow the money.
That follows the money.
Which is these lawyers. And now a word from our sponsor, Mudwater.
Yetis, you may assume that we drink a lot of coffee. We get that a lot.
This is a pretty high energy show.
But full disclosure, this is Nick, and I drink zero coffee. Just not a coffee guy.
Mudwater was made for Nick's morning because coffee's just not for him.
So Jack, I like the richness. I love the nuttiness of coffee, but like the caffeine, it's just too much caffeine in coffee. The takeaways would explode if I had 2 coffees a day.
Mudwater is the best coffee alternative Nick and I have ever seen. It captures the ritual of coffee that you love, but without the coffee.
Here's how it works. Mudwater is made of 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and Ayurvedic herbs.
Instead of the coffee bean, Mudwater leans on mushrooms for sustained energy with a fraction of coffee's caffeine.
For example, this morning, Jack, to jump in T-Boy style, I whipped up the Mudwater chai, which has that like nutty flavor I like.
I actually love my morning coffee routine. I'm not trying to change it. But in the afternoon, I do need a no-caff pick-me-up, and that's when I use Mudwater.
And Yetis, it comes with a frother, so you can just go crazy and mix in a whole bunch of things into this stuff.
100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified.
So besties, go to mudwater.com/Tboy to support the show and use code Tboy for 15% off.
That's MUDWTR.com/Tboy and use code Tboy for 15% off your order.
For our third and final story, we just witnessed a financial kumbaya moment. California, Arizona, and Nevada just agreed to protect the Colorado River.
The Colorado River is one of the biggest economic deals of the year. Physically. Yeah, these California, Arizona, and Nevada, they don't have too much in common. They're kind of states with different vibes.
It's like an awkward thruple is what this is, Jack.
One is coastal.
That's California.
One is a desert.
That's Arizona.
And one's mispronounced.
That's Nevada.
But they just made a joint decision together, those 3 states.
Here it is. They're going to all 3 cut back together on how much water they're drinking from the Colorado River.
Each of those 3 states is going to reduce their consumption of water from the river by 15%.
Jack, can you translate that into a unit of measurement none of us have ever heard before?
Yes, 1 million acre feet of water is going to be conserved each year.
Yetis, that is what the geologists say. We don't know exactly how big that is, but 1 million of anything is usually pretty big.
I mean, I think it's enough water to cover an acre with a foot.
Well, it's also enough water to keep the Colorado River flowing through 2026. Not too shabby.
At least through 2026, the rafting trip is on.
Buddy Timmy, honeymoon is on.
But yeah, Nick and I were thinking about this river story, and we got to ask Bruce Springsteen, Bishop Briggs, Leon Bridges, why are they all writing songs about rivers, and why did I name my dog River?
Well, Yetis, the reason for all these rivers actually has to do with Econ 101. You got to whip open the textbook.
Rivers aren't just powerful. Rivers can run entire economies, and they still do.
Look, besties, roads and Wi-Fi, those are critical infrastructure, but water is still the #1 most critical of infrastructure.
Yeah. No aqua, no assets.
Uh-huh.
No liquid, no life. No Aquafina, nice to meet you.
No Perrier, that's a problem. Yetis, the Colorado River, it starts in the Rockies. It ends in the Gulf of Mexico.
But it's also the backbone of these 3 states' economies.
First, the Colorado River is one of their main sources of electricity.
The Hoover Dam, it's not just huge, it's also high voltage. And the energy comes from the flowing rivers of the Colorado.
It's also critical for hydration.
40 million Americans in 7 states plus Mexico drink water from this river.
But most of all, the Colorado River is maybe our most important river for farming.
Yeah, the river's wet. And you know what's nice for wetness?
Talk to me, Jack.
Growing things. It irrigates 5.5 million acres of farmland.
Nearly 40% of all the water we use from the Colorado River. Jack, what does that water go for?
It grows grass, which feeds animals, which we ultimately eat.
4 out of 10 gallons of that water is going to the grass that feeds the animals that you're consuming.
The mighty Colorado River is the first link in a massive economic supply chain.
And now California, Nevada, and Arizona are going to sip a little bit less from the straw of the Colorado. Actually, a lot less. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over in the United States?
The price today pales to the price tomorrow.
Yetis, this decision is costly. Like cutting 1 million acre-feet of water a year, that is a really big cost. That's a pretty big sacrifice.
Not having that water is a huge cost. So the federal government is going to chip in $1.2 billion to help those states cope.
But Yetis, when you add up the math, the alternative of cutting that water is a lot worse and a lot more expensive.
If we didn't conserve today, the water in the next few years could stop flowing altogether.
And if you step back, the worse climate change gets, the more tough decisions like this are going to have to be made.
And like a leaky roof, the sooner they get fixed, the better.
And the cheaper.
Because the price today pales compared to the price tomorrow.
Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us for T-Boy Tuesday?
Krispy Kreme just announced record sales driven by awareness of those free donut giveaways.
Krispy Kreme doesn't sell to customers, it sells to occasions. It doesn't sell to consumers, it sells to calendars.
For our second story, 2 law firms are merging. Allen and Overy and Sherman and Sterling.
Besties, your money should follow the money that follows the money.
And our third and final story is the Colorado River. It's being conserved by California, Arizona, and Nevada.
Because the price today pales to the price tomorrow. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Kevin Dewey from lovely Del Rio, Texas.
Push and play.
Here we go.
Hey, Nick and Jack, today's best fact yet has to do with the NBA playoffs. The Denver Nuggets are the only team left that have never won an NBA championship. Out of the NBA's 30 teams, how many have never won? The answer is 11. Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves, Brooklyn Nets, Indiana Pacers, Charlotte Hornets, New Orleans Pelicans, Utah Jazz, Orlando Magic, and Los Angeles Clippers. Quick shout out to the best team yet, the Portland Trailblazers, who are not on this list because they've won a championship.
I mean, it kind of feels like the Knicks have never won, but
they won in 73.
That's true.
By
It's
the
been a
way,
while.
Kevin, trivia. Name the only 2 basketball players who have 5,000 more rebounds than they have points. There's only 2. This is a tough one, but I think Kevin's up for it.
This one's only for Kevin.
Nobody help him. Nobody help him.
Nobody help Kevin. Nobody help Kevin.
Make sure he's not Googling it.
Yetis, if you have got the best fact yet, Jack and I want to get it on the show. Jack, if you got the fact, what should you do?
We got forms for shout-outs and the best fact yet at our website, tboypod.com.
Go to tboypod.com. Jack and I will see you there, and we'll get your voice on the show. And before we go, congratulations to Yeti's Chip and Kate Fallaw, who just had their first baby boy named Champ down in Columbia, South Carolina.
And congratulations to Josh and Rachel Wilmore, celebrating 7 years together in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And Chase Baker, congrats on starting your first podcast. Trendy. Jack, apparently he was inspired by our show, and he's gotten on the mics. We got Chase on the mics.
Chase is chasing us.
Chase is chasing us. And a happy birthday to Tim Shapinski over in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Happy birthday to Janelle the Nurse Perry, celebrating in the ICU unit of the University of Utah Hospital.
And Jack, get this. Sean Wong and Sabrina are a husband and wife in San Francisco with the same birthday and the same age.
That was an easy match on Tinder. And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. I own stock of Krispy Kreme, and Nick and I are both the sons of lawyers.
Full disclosure.
Physically.
Physically.